Alright guys, what's going on? So I'm going to go over your notes for today, and then you're going to go on to Delta Math to do your assignment. Alright, so now we're going to write linear equations given 2 points. So yesterday we were giving a slope and a point. Today I'm just going to give you 2 points. And so what we're going to need to do is figure out what that slope is. And we've already done this before, and we've used our slope formula, right? M equals, we have a big fraction separated by a subtraction. And so I have a point x2, y2, and I have a point x1, y1, right? And I said, remember, the easiest way to do that is to put y2 over x2, and then x1, or no, not x1, y1 over x1, right? And so I can use this to figure out the slope, and then put it into the formula we learned yesterday to where it's y minus y1 equals m, let's make this a good color, m times the quantity x minus x1. Alright, so let's look how this works. So first, the best thing to do is to always define your points. So you can name this x1, y1, and then the one next to it x2, y2. And then first thing we're gonna do is plug that into this formula, right? So I'm trying to figure out what my m is. Okay, so I have y2 over x2, so negative 1 over 1, and then y1 over x1, so 7 over negative 3, right? And then I evaluate this. So negative 1 minus 7 would be negative 8, and 1 minus negative 3, two negatives become a positive, so 1 plus 3 is 4. Negative 8 divided by 4 would be negative 2. So my slope is negative 2. Alright? So then you have to plug your slope in and one of your points into your slope formula. Now normally, to make things a lot easier, just plug in this first point. But if you need to, you can, for some reason, go ahead and plug this in. Whatever you prefer. Alright, so I have y minus y1. y1 is 7. Equals my slope, which is negative 2, times the quantity x minus x1, which is negative 3. Alright, well here I have two negatives, so that means this becomes a positive. So the equation would be y minus 7 equals negative 2 times the quantity x plus 3. Now, again, sometimes you'll see it like this, or you'll see it as negative 2 times x plus 3. And then if I move that 7 to this side, it would be plus 7. Okay? So whichever one of those you prefer. Alright? Go ahead and try, well actually I'll do another one with you. Alright, so again, name your points, x1, comma, y1, and x2, comma, y2. And we're going to plug them into our slope formula. So m equals a fraction separated by subtraction. Okay, so then I have y2 over x2, so negative 4 over 3, and then y1 over x1, so negative 7 over negative 6. These both become positive, so negative 4 plus 7, or 7 minus 4 would be 3, and 3 plus 6 is 9. I can reduce this by dividing the top by 3 and the bottom by 3. And so 3 divided by 3 is 1. 9 divided by 3 is 3. So my slope is 1/3, and I'm going to plug that into my point slope formula using point 1. So y minus y1, which is negative 7, equals 1/3 times the quantity x minus x1, which is negative 6, right? Both of these negatives together become positive, and so do these. So x plus 6. Okay? Try number 3 and 4, and then once you do that, press play so you can see if you got them right. Okay? All right, I'm going to go through these really quick since you should have already have done them. So this is x1, y1. This is x2, y2. Plug them into my slope formula. So negative 6 over 4. I should do that in blue so you don't get confused. Negative 6 over 4 and negative 1 over 2. If I add everything up, these two negatives become a positive. Negative 6 plus 1 is negative 5. 4 minus 2 is 2. So negative 5 halves. So if I plug it into my formula, it's y minus negative 1 equals negative 5 over 2 x minus 2. This becomes positive. All right. Now, let's do number 4. So x1, y1, and x2, y2. So m equals fraction separated by subtraction. So 5 over 2 and 6 over 1. 5 minus 6 is negative 1. 2 minus 1 is 1. Negative 1 divided by 1 is negative 1. Plug it into my formula, so it's y minus 6 equals negative 1 x minus 1. Alright, so these are my two functions. Now, let's say I want to turn these into slope intercept form, right? Y equals mx plus b. The way you have to do that is you distribute this negative 5 over 2. So y plus 1 equals negative 5 over 2 is the same times x. Now negative 5 over 2 times negative 2. Remember, put this over by 1. These 2's can cancel out. Negative times a negative is a positive, so I'm left with positive 5. Then my last step is to just subtract 1. So this y-intercept would be 4. So this equation would be y equals negative 5 over 2x plus 4. Alright, same thing over here. This one's a little easier because there's no fraction. If I distribute this negative 1, it's going to be y minus 6 equals negative 1 times x is negative 1x. Negative 1 times negative 1 is positive 1. And then I can add this 6 to the other side. So it's going to be y equals negative 1x plus 7. Alright, so those are your slope intercept form. Alright, so let's go to number 5 and 6. So on 5 and 6, I'm going to introduce another form. And this is going to be your standard form. So your standard form is ax plus by equals c, where a is greater than 0. Meaning a has to be positive. Alright? So, if I use my slope formula, I have x1. I'm just going to put a 2 and a 1. That way you should already know by now that it's x1, y1 and x2, y2. So I'm going to plug it into my slope formula. And if I'm going too fast, please slow down the video with the settings. Alright? So, negative 5 over 0 and 1 over negative 8. So these two negatives become a positive. So negative 5 minus 1 is negative 6. 0 plus 8 would be 8. If I reduce this, I can divide by 2. And that's going to be negative 3 over 4. Okay? So then, that's my slope. Now notice. Hold on. Yeah. Okay. So now notice. Here, they give me the y-intercept, right? And y-intercept in mx plus b is right here. So really, I don't have to use point slope formula. I can use y equals negative 3 over 4x minus 5. Okay? So negative 3 over 4x minus 5. Now, to turn this into standard form, this is what you're going to have to do. You have to multiply this whole equation by your denominator if you have a fraction, right? Because a and b are whole numbers or integers. Okay, there's no fractions on standard form equations. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to multiply this whole side by a 4, and then I'm also going to have to multiply this side by 4. You have to do it on both sides. So here I have to distribute over here and here. And the reason I use 4, the denominator, is so I can cancel out the 4 with this 4. So this is going to become 4y equals negative 3x. And then negative 5 times 4 would be negative 20. All right. And then since I want x to be, the coefficient of x to be positive, here it's negative. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add 3x to the other side. And now it is positive. So then this in standard form would be 3x plus 4y equals negative 20. So these are supposed to be both whole numbers, and this first number should be positive. So x and y are now on the same side. So this is a standard form equation. Okay, try this on number 6. And again, you only have to do this whenever there's a fraction on here. I believe this one's not going to have a fraction. So try 6 first to get it to where x and y are on the same side and the coefficient of x is positive. Okay, try that one real quick. Okay, so if this is 0.1 and this is 0.2, all right, I'm going to use my slope formula. So 7 over 2 and negative 8 over negative 3. These both become positive. So 7 plus 8 is 15. 2 plus 3 is 5. 15 divided by 5 is 3. So if I plug this into my point slope formula, y minus y1, which is negative 8, equals 3, my slope, times x minus negative 3. Right? So these both negatives become positive. Right? Now, if you notice, for standard form equation, there's no parentheses. So I have to distribute this 3 to get rid of the parentheses. Right? So y plus 8 equals 3 times x, which is 3x. And 3 times 3 is 9. Now, remember, the number in front of the x has to be positive, and it is already positive. If I move it to this side, I'm going to have to subtract in it, and I can't have it be negative. So I'm not going to do that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to subtract the y to this side. And so this is going to become 8 equals 3x plus 9 minus y. Right? Because b can be negative. It doesn't matter about b. A is the one that is always positive. Right? And over here, I only have x and y. I don't have any other constant terms. So I have to move this 9 to the other side. So I'm going to subtract 9. And since these are both constants, I can combine them. So 8 minus 9 is negative 1 equals 3x. And then the minus y stays because all this does is cancel out. So if I flip this around, my answer in standard form will be 3x minus y equals negative 1. All right. So you do have an assignment in Delta Math. Read the board. It should be up there written for you. Don't worry about doing standard form. You really only have to do just slope intercept or point slope form. Those are the easiest. Standard form I'm going to go over a little bit more when I come back. So if you did not understand it, that is okay. We're going to revisit it some more. All right. If you have any questions, please contact me on Remind. I believe it's at Reed PAP ouch. Okay. Hopefully you should already have me by now. But if you have any questions, please feel free to contact me. Other than that, have a good weekend. Work on your assignments, and I'll see you on Monday. All right. Have a good one.